Hello, everyone. My name is Andres Diaz. Today, me and Will are here today for another spectacular Marvel Plus Talk podcast. We have two major topics today we have to talk about. Of course, the first one we're going to do is What If, episode 4, the Doctor Strange one. And then the secondary topic is, of course, we have a new MCU movie, of course, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, which I'm excited to talk about. I don't know about you, Will. Are you excited for?
Yeah, me too.
That's cool. So, but first, let's kind of get What If out of the way, and then we'll discuss Shang-Chi. But overall, what's your thoughts on episode 4 of What If?
I actually liked this one.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. um, yeah, it was nice to get like more of an exploration of like Doctor Strange and Christine's characters.
Mm,
I feel like we didn't really get that a lot in the Doctor Strange movie, especially with Christine. Christine was, yeah, she felt like an afterthought in that movie.
yeah.
And like, I don't know, like while the episode kind of fell into the like fridge trope of like
Mm,
love interest dying to like develop the hero's character. And it was still like we still got to see more of her. Like I'm
yeah.
pretty sure she had more screen time in this episode than she did in the entire Doctor Strange movie. Um,
I agree. It's kind of interesting because um I think this is my favorite episode so far of this
okay.
series, and I agree with you. I think that the episode, like for me, I think one of the things that was kind of cool was it was a darker episode
Mm-hmm.
in the series.
Yeah.
I like the kind of like it was kind of interesting because it's what I wanted Doctor Strange the movie should be, because there was something missing in Doctor Strange
Mm-hmm.
origin,
Yeah.
and I feel like this episode showed me, well, if you wanted to use more Rachel McAdams, I think she could have been the driving force of that first film of why he becomes like a sorcerer. And I I feel like that was because there wasn't like a hook why he became a hero, or like why he, like I get his hands were broken and like he was, but like a lot of it was just, you know like just like they didn't talk more about Doctor Strange's arrogance or like his just strive to be the one and only best surgeon, or whatever,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and I think this episode showed me that they couldn't use Richard Adams' character in a very tropey way, but one that makes a lot of sense. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah.
but I would say another aspect I loved this episode was just seeing more the H1. I really like
Mm-hmm.
Tilda Swinton in that role,
Yeah.
and I think
Yeah, me
she
too.
did a terrific job. I was actually kind of surprised they have all the cast members from Doctor Strange here.
Yeah.
Oh, well, except with Mortal. So, but yeah,
Right, that character wasn't in this episode.
yeah. Well, it makes
Uh,
sense because
yeah,
if we're finally the first movie, he left by that
yeah.
point. But yeah, I guess. And then another one was like the visuals. I think this was the best visual
Mm-hmm.
of the series. I was surprised to see a lot of the mystical creatures that they showed that was like very much like was it H.L. Lovecraft?
H.P.
Like,
Lovecraft. Yeah,
yeah, thank you. Like I was like, whoa, they really went
yeah.
there, and
It was really cool.
yeah,
Um,
um, yeah, and then and it was cool to see um like seeing one Doctor Strange good, because the H1 split the Strange character into two universes. You got one that was the Doctor Strange we know, and then of course Strange Supreme as the song. That's the story they tell Strange, the darker version of Doctor Strange. But kind of take us, where did you kind of felt comfortable that you liked this episode? I'm kind of curious, where do you felt like,
let me think. I don't know if there was like an exact moment. But it probably would have been like when it started taking that darker turn and he started like absorbing the other magical creatures.
Yes.
Yeah, it just like it felt darker than anything that the MCU's done before, in a way that was like refreshing, and all the visuals during those scenes were cool and like interesting. And then I liked that the Watcher like talked to Steven in this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my
and
God.
like just that scene at the end where it's like this tiny little bubble is all that's left of that universe, and it's just like Steven realizing what he did. That was just really well done.
Yeah. Yeah. Like that was an aspect I love from this episode, was seeing more of the Watcher. And I just think so far Jeffrey Wright has been the best. Like he was the perfect casting for the Watcher, and
yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, and I was very appreciate the classic Watcher. He cannot intervene. Like the classic Watcher. When you see him popping up in the Fantastic Four or any other Marvel thing, is he always like try intervene or not? It was cool. They actually did it here in this episode, and it made sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to see now like a live action version of the Watcher with Jeffrey Wright. And like just him in the MCU, because that, just imagine it, that would be so my God.
Yeah, I feel like we'll get that one day.
Yeah, I'm curious where, like,
maybe in like that Fantastic Four movie.
That makes sense. That's where the Watcher, I guess, first appeared. Yeah. Hold on. So yes, he first appeared in Fantastic Four. So okay. Yeah, and then the moment that I had like a chuckle when I saw this episode yesterday, and I was like, whoa, they're really going at this this episode, when Doctor Strange went to like a Groundhog Day like looping of just trying to stop the inevitable death of Christine. And like I was like, whoa, they're actually going for here. Just seeing the various like how you say like different ways that Palmer gets killed, in these alternate realities. That moment I was like, okay, I see what they're doing. So that moment made me kind of feel comfortable with this episode. And just in general, I think this is a good plot for like an actual Doctor Strange like solo eyeing. Like I want to see this in a live action movie.
Yeah, it would have been a good plot for like a full movie. Doctor Strange just has so many cool like possibilities that I feel were kind of squandered in the first movie. So I'm really looking forward to Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, me too. And Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Yeah.
No Way Home. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't believe we're having 3 Spider-Man films with home in it. Oh my God.
And it's a good naming convention, but it does get kind of confusing sometimes.
Yeah. But yeah, I think they're definitely crisscrossing Doctor Strange like universe, and so like seeing the trailer for Spider-Man: No Way Home, and of course his second film, the Multiverse of Madness. I think they're definitely amping up his world, and I mean, thankfully is Shang-Chi, like the fact that film like really like went into the magic stuff more.
Yeah.
Like I hopefully want to see from the Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness to be like full bunkers, just like magical fantasy, like realm of a movie, like Harry Potter, or like oh my god, like Legion, or like what One Division was, and then but then at the same time embracing magic, like how Shang-Chi did it in their movie, because that was one of the things I had a problem with Doctor Strange, is they didn't went forward with the magic stuff. Like they didn't go out crazy like stuff we saw from the comics. So I'm hoping for more of that in the nearest future. But yeah, and then I guess the another one that another thing that was really interesting was this other character O'Brien. This one is the like he's like, oh okay, so he's like in this lost library of Castellesto. That's what it's called. And he was an interesting character. What do you thought about him?
He was interesting. I don't know, like he wasn't around long enough for me to like get like a strong opinion on him. And I was surprised that they gave that like role in the episode to a character that we hadn't seen before.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I have a question. Did you thought he was a comic book character? I thought in a second I thought he was like voodoo master from the comics.
And
yeah,
I definitely like figured he would be a character from the comics.
Yeah.
So it's weird that it seems to be like an original.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. He just I mean, it's kind of interesting because the MCU, like, from the last 13 years now, like they have taken like the most liberty in terms of the source material and like just making it its own thing. Right. I mean, some I'm like okay with, and then there's some I don't agree with. Yeah. But I think this one could have been a good way to introduce Voodoo Master. I think he's another interesting character. And then he was the one that takes over the Doctor Strange role in the comics, a long time ago. But anyway, so and then I guess I want to get into like Christine Palmer. I was very happy to see Rachel McAdams, and I'm surprised she's still hanging on to this franchise. Like, there was a moment like she wasn't going to be in the second film of Doctor Strange, and then she, like I wonder if it was because it was Sam Raimi. She wanted to work with him. I
wonder if like she just got to read the script and she liked it more, or she like, felt like Christine had more to do in it.
I guess I'm curious. Like, I'm kind of curious where she's going to head, because in the comics she's like night nurse, right?
Right.
But I don't think it's like, I mean, like, I don't know if that's like right for her. Like she's such a great actress, and I don't know. I mean, I'm hoping they're like gonna merge Christine to be like Clea, the female love interest for Doctor Strange from the comics. Like, I'm hoping for that, because that makes more sense for her to be like another female superhero, and just like have another witch in this universe besides Scarlet Witch, and then or Agatha.
Yeah. So,
I'm hoping for that, because there's one thing that's kind of weird about Marvel is they don't like I mean, DC does it too, but like they do it in a fun way. Like you have Harrison Wells in The Flash, and like he's a cool character, like, or Diggle from Arrow. Like here, like after Coulson, I just never liked some of their like ritual creations, or like or like they take this really obscure character and make it important that like it shouldn't be. And Kristen Palmer is like one of those characters. Like she has like a like I guess we need I like if you're gonna do Night Nurse, like we need to see her more in the more grounded like shows, like the street level stuff, like Daredevil or Spider-Man. But we um
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
we might be getting that. I know Doctor Strange 2, they're introducing America Chavez,
Oh yeah.
um, who I don't know. I have a Doctor Strange comic. I'm trying to remember which one it is.
Okay.
Where I think Christine Palmer and America Chavez in it. Is it The Oath or is it?
No. The Oath is the one when Juan gets kind of ill, and like that's where Dutch.
Yeah. But hold on. They appear in the beginning. Christine definitely appears in the beginning of The Oath. I have it open now.
Okay.
But I was confusing a different character with. Just thinking of Ravanya. But I don't know. There's stuff that she can do.
Okay.
I just think they need to get a better sense of what they want her to do in the MCU.
Yeah, and then the relationship, like where we're gonna go with that, like they're not together. Like she made that decision in the first film, but like, are we going to continue with the friendship or like where's that status? You know.
Right.
And I guess to like and kind of get into like the MCU Easter egg for this episode. The Strange Supreme, the dark version, is this version that is called Necro Messer or something like that. So yeah. Yeah, so the darker version of Dutch String is actually from the comics. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And then we got the like tentacle octopus from the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
From here, so that was really interesting. And then, and by the way, I actually love the capes in this episode.
Yep.
It was funny to see two capes fighting each other. They closed of levitation, so that was really cool. And
I liked how Evil Strange just like stole his cape from that weird cockroach demon.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for the cape, and then dropped him back into hell.
Yes, that was the moment I loved that episode. I was like, what? Where was that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, yes. Oh my god. Oh my god, it'd be funny that was actually Doctor Strange as a cockroach. Like first we got Alligator Loki, and then Frog Thor, and then this. Oh my god,
Doctor Strange.
Oh my god, yes. Yeah, it was funny, and I actually like that cape more than the other cape. I surprisingly, I don't know, maybe because it reminds me of the actual cape for Doctor Strange. Maybe I don't know. It's just me. I know it's kind of goofy, but I always love those high colors. That I want to see that in a movie. You know, like Vision has one. I'm fine with Vision not having one, but I don't know, it'd be kind of cool to see one for a hero here and there. What else? I think we cover everything for this episode, right?
There was something that I wanted to bring up, but I can't remember what it was. I had a slight problem with the premise of Christine's death being a fixed point in time.
Yes. Okay.
Because the entire premise of the episode is like, what if this thing happened instead? So like we've already seen the timeline where she doesn't die.
Yes.
But it was okay. It was
yeah, I guess like I mean, it, it, like like trying to pick the story, like I because it's not like part of the MCU. I'm
Right.
like
Yeah.
kind of fine with that. Like I don't know.
It's weird because it's like I don't know. They're
I
portraying it as like this is something that's happening in the MCU's multiverse, right?
right.
But
I
I don't know. Is it
well,
is it just that the fixed points in time apply to single universes?
I I don't like a single universe. I think just for this one pot, like it's just for this one pocket universe. Just
Yeah, that's what I mean.
yeah.
Like,
I,
okay,
okay, yeah. It's more like that. Like
yeah,
because the thing is, like Kristen, like because the character Christine is in the first Doctor Strange, but like she doesn't like. I guess she is like a major factor to like Doctor Strange to become a better man, right?
yeah,
And I guess here is like we're like it's asking what if when Strange was in that relationship still, when they were still dating, like
mhm.
what happens to her, and like does this set Doctor Strange to a much different path, and like him going to the the mystic of the mystic of arts for a different purpose. Yeah, like
Right.
I think it's more like that, like asking those kind of questions than
Yeah, no, I just it felt weird for them to be like, this is a fixed point in time that
yeah.
can't be changed when the entire premise of the episode was like, what if she died instead? Like, I don't know.
I don't know. And it's also like the conceit is also like kind of far fetched as well. Like you got this one woman out of any people in the world to be this fixed point. That's another thing. Like it's
Yeah,
just her. Like I don't know. Like I think it should be more than her. Like maybe the ancient one or like Juan. Like if you wrote those two, I think the episode makes more sense. But I don't know. But that's always a problem when you deal with this like alternate universe or the time reality stuff. It gets a little wonky at
yeah.
that point. But yeah. Anything else before we head to Shang-Chi? I mean,
Uh, no, just I'll say again that like I liked this episode, so I was like relieved that there was finally an episode of What If that I enjoyed.
that's good. Yeah. I enjoyed this very well. I think this is my like I think personal favorite episode. I think they went all out to it for it, and so that's good. Um, I guess I want to bring up something. Do you enjoy the the main actors coming back's roles here? Because there's been kind of a trend from the last three episodes where the the like Josh Keaton and like Bale, who were replacing the other actors, were like the highlight of those episodes. You think this was a like this is where the main cast really came out alive and they were so good. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
well, and like Benedict Cumberbatch, like he's a good voice actor.
yeah,
Like he
yeah,
has experience with it.
yeah,
So like he was great in this episode.
yeah.
Um, but it like it's just a completely different skill set, and not all of the actors that they've brought back have it.
That's
So
true. Yeah. He did Penguins on Madagascar.
yeah,
The
and
the
he
movie.
was the voice of Smaug in the Hobbit movies.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God. And what Benedict Wong, who plays Wong,
Mhm.
he was in Raya and the Last Dragon,
Yeah.
and I think that's his maybe his first and only animation role, maybe, but I haven't seen it. And then I think this is Rachel's first because I'm I don't know if she hasn't done the like animation
I
role.
I can't think of any that she's done.
No. I'm like checking it right now, but I Sherlock Holmes. No, I don't
Yeah.
see any. Like
Yeah.
this is her first. Then
Yeah.
okay.
I know Tilda Swinton's been in a few animated movies.
Oh really?
She was definitely in Isle of Dogs, the Wes
Oh
Anderson movie.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I totally yes. She's in Honest Dolls. I think I like, and then I guess you consider Chronicles of Narnia to be an animation thing. I don't know.
No, I think that was live action.
Live action. Oh
Um,
god. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Okay. Um anyway, yeah, and yeah, I kind of with you. This was a good enjoyable episode, and yeah. I'm curious what's the next episode.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So well folks, hope you will definitely hear me, and we'll be back again for a what if podcast only for next Sunday. So look out for that. So now we're entering the the half mark of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. This is a spoiler cast. So fair warning, click out from this podcast so you can have a chance to see the film and then hear the amazing spoiler things that me and Will were going to do. So, okay. Uh, so, Will, overall thoughts on Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Go ahead.
I loved this movie. It was so much fun. I thought all of the performances were great. The fight choreography was like very exciting and just better than most of what we've seen in the MCU. I liked that they like the shots were long enough so you could actually like see stuff happening, and they weren't like right in close. They like zoomed out a little bit.
Yes.
I liked having certain fight scenes like that dance fight at the beginning, or the bus where they happened like in the middle of the day, so it was like
Yes.
bright, you could see what was going on. See, I loved the like lore that this movie added to the MCU. We got to see like a different corner of the universe, which is like always fun. Yeah, I liked the changes that they made to Shang-Chi's like backstory. I liked this version of the Mandarin.
Yes, me too. Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't think I have any complaints so far. Like I'm sure when I think about it more, I'll think of like something that like could have been better, but there's nothing that I dislike about this movie.
Yeah, that's the same here. I it was kind of funny this week. I think I told my mom before they saw the movie yesterday that I think this is better than Black Widow, and
This is definitely better than Black Widow.
And she had a graph just right now. And here's the reason. You mentioned nitpicks. And there's one nitpick. I saw from one critic that I really love, and then which I kind of disagree because of the nature of the film's like tone and genre that is in the third act. The third act becomes like another typical superhero affair, but because this film really goes into the kung fu and like Japanese like mystical
Chinese.
Yeah, thank you. Mystical fantasy, and like they do it so well, and like it feels like those kind of like films. It doesn't bother me that the third act was like that typical superhero affair.
It became a fantasy movie, so
Yeah.
it would be weird if you had a fantasy movie that didn't have a lot of like
Dragons.
CGI monsters and stuff.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yes. I completely agree with you, Will. Friday when I saw it, I was like the opening, I was like very intrigued of the new take on the Mandarin because I'm a huge Iron Man fan, and I was kind of skeptical on them bringing him back, and not I was kind of disappointed not to see a Mandarin versus Iron Man, like having like the actual Mandarin like facing off Tony Stark. But here, I think it was actually the best choice, and it makes a lot of sense. I agree with you. I like the change they did with Shang-Chi's backstory. As we discussed in the Mandarin podcast like a couple weeks ago, like it was good that they changed that from that was Famine Chu, the which was
offensive stereotype.
Yeah, the stereotype, warlord and villain type, and I think and this this is my favorite movie about family. Like that was something that Black Widow was talking about family, but here it was much more executed right, and like it mattered in the story.
Yeah, and like you could it really felt like there was a family dynamic there.
Yes,
that like it was kind of present in Black Widow, but here like you could really see like how much Wenwu like cared about his kids, even if like he was going down the wrong path. Like there was never a point where you doubted how much he loved his family, and that made for a very interesting like dynamic with him as a villain.
Wenwu is probably my favorite MCU villain of all time, and that scene when he gave his 10 rings to Shang-Chi towards the end, that killed me, and like that made me really appreciate him as character, because where Black Widow, like I felt like that was just like an introduction, like it was just like a show for the new characters. Like for Lena, the blonde Black Widow, where here the characters, like it was still Shang-Chi's story, but you had these other characters that you really like, but they were connected to the themes and like the journey that Shang-Chi was going through. Like that was like perfect from beginning to end. I guess I wanted to get into so there's so many things that is great about this film. Let's get into like the characters here, because I think one of the things that I love about this film was the characters. I never like, sometimes in the MCU films there's certain characters that I don't like, and then there's some characters that I do like, right? Like I think in what was the good example of that? Like in Spider-Man Homecoming, I like Peter, Tony, and then Vulture, but then I didn't like Ned Leeds. Because the way in that, like he was like, when he finds the identity, he kind of just starts pressing on Peter, like what's your powers, and then he like spills out like that Peter knows Spider-Man, that really annoyed me. Here, none of that happened. Like each character I love specifically, it's just amazing. I guess I want to kind of get into, what's your opinion on Simu Liu, the main actor playing Shang-Chi? What do you thought about him? I think
I really liked him. I thought he was like charismatic enough to lead the film. He gave a strong performance, especially when he was across from Tony Leung. I thought he and Awkwafina had good like chemistry as friends. And he did really well in all of the like action scenes. So
I love his performance. Was like under, like what was the word, understeady, or like under, like it was very underneath.
Understated.
Yes, understated. Thank you. And like, but but like something he had, like he but at the same time he balanced that with like charisma and like just like swagger in a good way. And like he reminded me, like it was kind of clear, like it, like the jacket he was wearing, like it was like a Baby Driver, and And
Yeah.
with the headphones, like it was kind of like that. Like he reminded me of Baby a little
Mhm.
bit,
Yeah.
and I felt like he really came off that very well. And man, I love him. He's definitely one of my favorite new characters
Mhm.
they brought. And I do agree with people that this is definitely the best origin story for a superhero. Like, I don't know if you agree with that. Like, I think it's definitely second for me after probably Iron Man or Black Panther in terms
Yeah,
of
I was gonna say like Iron Man's a pretty high bar to beat.
yeah,
I don't know if I could call this one the best, but it's definitely up there.
yeah,
Um, yeah,
yeah. But yeah, it's just it's for me. I think this is like I was so happy that the hero's journey was just so well executed because
Mhm.
that's something I think we've been missing for the last couple of years. Well, like the last great one was like Shazam from DC. That was
Yeah,
like that's like the only time I felt like I was like so happy for like a origin story film because um Captain Marvel was okay,
yeah,
and then Black Widow was better than Captain Marvel, but the third act kind of just didn't land for me.
yeah, Sam.
So I was very happy that this one land for emotional connection, I would say, for his journey. And then I guess getting into like you mentioned Awkwafina's character, Kate. What you thought about her?
Yeah,
Um,
I based on the trailer, I was so ready to find her incredibly annoying.
yes,
And then I got, I started watching the movie, um, and I liked her, and all of the scenes that were in the trailers, when put into the context that they were in the movie, like were like funny and great.
yes.
And yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by how much I liked that character.
Oh my god.
Because I don't like the trailer. So at the end of the first trailer, which is the only one I saw, because
Okay.
I don't like to like watch trailers.
No, no, that makes sense. Makes sense.
There's that scene where like they're on the bus and it ends with her being like, "We make a good team," and I like you assume that she's saying that to Shang-Chi,
Right.
and like if she's saying that to Shang-Chi, that's like classic like Marvel quip that like
Yeah.
feels like focus group tested and doesn't actually land. But her saying that to the like dump truck driver that she just
Yes.
crashed into,
Yeah, like looking.
incredible. Like
Yes. Oh my god. Yes.
oh man, yeah, the trailer did not like make her seem like she was going to be good, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It happened before. Like I don't know. You had this like the Wonder Woman trailer with there was like that last part where like Anna Kenny meets Wonder Woman and then she mentioned ex secretary and then Diane mentioned uh, goes to that part where like she say when you're like a secretary that means slavery and then like it you know that part when she was in that uh like shop trying to dress up to like normal clothes.
yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of like that for you. Yeah, I see what you were saying. Her she Hiroshima is like hit and miss, but I think this movie it was definitely the best from her for Aquafina. Like it was top notch from like every minute she was on screen.
Mm.
My favorite was like my favorite moment from her character Kate was when we got the introduction of Shang-Chi's sister and when they were fighting in the cage and then
Mm-hmm.
when we cut to the next scene where he's in in her office and then Kate comes in and like she has the money and then he plays like did you bet on me and she's like no and he puts it away in her mini pocket whatever.
Uh-huh.
That was my favorite moment from her. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah. And her and the shirtless joke, when Shinny was like shirtless and like
Yeah.
that moment I love. Oh my god. Yes. Yeah. Oh my God. Kay was amazing. And I like and the thing I liked about her compared to like some of the sidekicks or like or main human, she's like the best human non-superhero sidekick that had like an actual arc and like if like
Mm-hmm.
fit in the themes of what was going on with Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
That was impressive for me. That I wasn't expecting. And they were so consistent about that.
Mm.
And like and this and her character like parallel to Shang-Chi's sister, where she had the same like different way, but like similar to what Kate was facing or Shang-Chi.
Mm-hmm.
So and I guess now we mentioned Shang-Chi sister. What do you thought about the sister?
I thought she was all right.
Oh really?
And I don't think she was like the strongest part of the movie,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know, like I think there's promise for her like in future movies or installments. So
Okay.
yeah, what did you think?
Um I I do agree with you. I um you know what's surprising? This is the actress' first film.
Okay.
So I can see why you kind of say that. I definitely like her. I think they're setting up for her for very big things when we get to the post credit scene.
Mm.
When we get to that, because
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked her. I think she was I think in terms of my favorite rank list is like first Shang-Chi, Kate, and then third is her. So
Okay.
yeah, so I because her journey as well was very interesting and like her and I like that we had like another sibling
Mm-hmm.
rivalry in the MCU and like
Yep.
this one has very potential of being the best since Thor and Loki.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, very intriguing. And I guess now we can get into the main antagonist. Well, or I guess the main one that been marketing for this film.
Right.
Of course, is I want to say this right. San Wen Yu, of course, played by Tony Leung. What do you thought about him and just the new like retcon of the Ten Rings and this new version of the Mandarin?
Yeah. I was so happy with it.
Yes.
Like Tony Leung's performance was incredible. Like the amount of like information that he could portray just like with like his eyes, like without even speaking, was
Yeah.
incredible. And then like you mentioned this before that he's like one of the best villains of the MCU, and I think that's because
Yeah.
they actually gave him like a backstory, and you get where he's coming from and why he's doing the things that he's doing.
Yeah.
And then that's coupled with just a truly incredible performance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, it was so good.
Yeah. I this is the Mandarin that I've been waiting for the last 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm an Iron Man fan. Like Iron Man was the character that made me love Marvel, and it was no coincidence. Is a billionaire rich boy, just like like he's the Batman version of the Marvel universe, right?
Right. Yeah.
And I I really like the Mandarin, and I understand that the Mandarin is a very difficult character to adapt. And I mentioned before, there's a few that are very good depictions, but this totally blows that away. And just like Killmonger, because Killmonger is my number one personal favorite of the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
He's the first time in a villain that I saw that has like an actual arc in the film.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so happy about that because And you're right, Will, because you mentioned they actually presented his background very well, just like Killmonger in Black Panther as well, and like
Yeah.
and that's something that's very important in a superhero film, which a lot of superhero films don't do a lot, you know, and that's where like the villain falls flat and like it doesn't resonate me. Here, this didn't have that problem. It was just very good from beginning to end. But one thing I do want to mention in terms of another nitpick besides the third act, did you like that he was because some people thought about like having this soul eater, this like creature that was possessing him, like he was tricking him to open the the gate, and
Yeah.
that you thought that was a good way to have this other antagonist in this film, because I feel like I don't think we really need that part in the film.
Yeah, I think it could have just been Shang-Chi versus Wenwu, but I think
Yeah,
in order to get that scene at the end where Wenwu realized that he was wrong and that he wanted to pass his mantle on to his son, uh, I don't know. I'm trying to think of how you would do that if there wasn't like a force for them to team up against, you know? I'm sure it's possible. I'm just struggling to
I
think
I
of the
guess
way.
so. I guess like I I guess the thing like it doesn't like hurt it like Wonder Woman like third act or like Black Widow, is that like you're kind of like you understand why when you is doing,
Yeah.
and like and there's like and then the part that actually the thing I like about this was they like they like they didn't like shy away with the magic or fantasy stuff.
Mhm.
So I was kind of comfortable with what they were doing. Well, and that scene, like at least like the main focus was always Shang-Chi and his father
Right.
still,
Yeah.
and this was just like the was it the classicism or like the antithesis of what was going on? Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That it's I hopefully I want to see it again with my mom or someone else,
Mhm.
because I want to see that third act again, because that was like very much Black Widow or like Wonder Woman's third act superhero affair, and but some reason it never bothered me compared to those two.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it's because it fit the genre that they were going for.
yes, yeah,
Like it was a fantasy movie, so you expect there to be like big CGI things happening. Whereas Black Widow was supposed to be like a spy thriller, and then it ended with like a fortress in the sky falling to Earth. It just doesn't
yeah,
seem appropriate. I
yeah.
like Wonder Woman was like so much of it was just a war movie, and then all of a
Yeah,
sudden there's a giant monster to fight.
yeah, yeah, yeah. One Woman is the big one for me.
Yeah,
I
that
was
I the first two thirds were so good.
I know.
And then there was a scene in Wonder Woman where she like kills the general
Right.
or like the bad guy, and then Ares shows up. And what I really wanted to happen was for Ares to just be like, I didn't have to do anything. The humans just like
Mm, yeah,
chose war themselves. And I'm just here like enjoying it from the sideline. And I think that would have like complicated uh, Diana's arc, because her whole thing was like, no, like people are good, like
hmm
or is forced upon them by Ares. And I think her like confronting humanity's like like push toward war would have been way more interesting than like, no, JK, she was right. Ares was behind it the whole time.
Yeah.
Here's a CGI fight. Like, oh man, it could have been so much better.
Yeah, and to like wrap up the Wonder Woman and the Black Widow thing, I just wish the villains fit more to the storyline. Like for me, I think for Wonder Woman, it should have been easy for Wonder Woman's creative team to just put Ares to be like he orchestrated the World War One events, like kind of like how in X-Men First Class, where Sebastian Shaw orchestrated the Cuban Missile Crisis. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
like he was invented. Like he invented was the cause of that like human like historic event. You know?
Yeah.
But that didn't happen in Wonder Woman, and it was weird in Jenkins' part and the team. They were trying to like it was like a twist. Like, is Ares there, and like is it real or not? Like was he alive? Like, I don't know. Like, they didn't do that well, honestly. But and speaking of like third act problems, we mentioned Iron Man 3, right, Will? And we liked that movie, right?
Yeah.
And I saw the premiere photos of Shang-Chi, and there was one actor I saw. I was like, oh, he's there. And I was expecting him to be back. And of course, folks, I'm talking about Ben Kingsley, who played the fake Mandarin in Iron Man 3. Of course, Trevor Slattery. Will, what you thought about him? And were you surprised he was like a major part in this film? Like,
yeah, I it had been spoiled for me that he was in it before I saw it. But I assumed it would just be like a quick cameo.
Yeah, I thought so too.
And then like I was in the dungeon and I was like, oh, like, is this going to be where Trevor shows up? And then it was. And then I was like, oh, that was fun. And then he was there the entire rest of the movie. And I was like, okay, this is cool. Yeah. That was a fun surprise.
Yes.
And I feel like it gave closure to that like thread of Iron Man 3.
Yes, I agree. And most importantly, Wang Wu, the leader of the Ten Rings, actually addressed what happened. Like, he addressed why Guy Pearce's villain from Iron Man 3, Arthur Killian, picked the Mandarin, as the fearing the US with this, the moniker of his, supposed name. Because the one thing that's kind of I actually like that when Will doesn't go by the name the Mandarin, it's just like that was something that the Americans made that up, like, right.
Yeah,
like that was so cool, and I really like that, and I love how he does a little like sarcastic like mark, like they actually did it right. People were feared by that Mandarin. Oh my god, yeah, Trevor was so surprising. The moment I love him is when he had Morris, the little creature.
Yeah,
that was where I fell in love with him. And oh my god, and his speech about the Planet of the Apes.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, I cannot believe they did it. Oh my god. Oh, this is my favorite moment from him. This is my favorite joke and just favorite scene from the movie is when he pretends to be dead.
Yep. That was really, really good.
Oh my god. And the little creature came in and he was like sad, and then he got like a shock. It's like, oh my god, he's alive. And he just tell Morris that, oh no, dude, I'm just performing. I'm just pretending to die. And then the creature copies him and he flips.
Yeah.
I was so, oh my god. Morris was one of my other favorite characters. Just and that was like a Disney thing. You realize that, Will? Like, Morris was like that, like cute creature, the like
Yeah, it felt like something from a Disney movie, like an animal companion.
yeah, like an animal companion, like
Yeah.
like
Although that is like a real creature from Chinese mythology.
oh really? Okay,
Yeah.
now that's the thing I want to get into because there's a couple they have here that I really
Yeah.
like.
Mhm.
Like a lot of people thought the dragon that was in the water. A lot of people thought it was Fan Foom,
Mhm.
but it wasn't. I kind of knew that because you know,
Yeah, it wasn't green wearing purple
yeah,
shorts.
yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it was no way it was Fan Foom
Yeah,
because
no.
they were taking a lot of liberties with the engine. So oh, but yeah, and that's the thing I love about this film because they actually taking a lot of the like you know the you know the myths of these creatures and such like straightforward,
Mhm.
and I like that they never made a joke about it. That's something I appreciate about this film because I don't like when the MCU makes jokes about certain things. Like the one joke I didn't like from Spider-Man Far From Home, where they make fun of the spider sense and they call it the pure tingle. Like I don't like that, and
Yeah.
I liked that this film was straightforward with the magic stuff and the mythical creatures. So that was my thing. And I guess I want to get into like the mythology that they brought up to this film. What you thought about that? Because I love the way they reinvent the 10 rings.
Yeah.
Because that was the thing I was like, oh, that's actually kind of cool. They did like instead of giving Wang Wu the 10 rings in his fingers, they give it on
Mhm.
his wrists, and I thought it was like in the trailers. I thought, okay, it's interesting take, but in the film, I was like, oh no, this is good. This is amazing.
Yeah. I think like aesthetically putting them around the wrists is way cooler than just having a ring on each finger.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was like a little disappointed that each ring didn't have its own like power like in the comics, but I was fine with it
Mm,
since this was like a completely different interpretation of what the rings were. And I really liked the way that they used them in the movie. Um,
thematically as well, like
yeah,
um,
um, just
yeah,
like the fighting style that Wenwu had versus how Shang-Chi kind of combined that with his father and his mother's different fighting styles to use the rings differently. Yeah,
yeah,
it was really well done.
yeah.
I
Um,
really liked the creative uses for the rings. Like Shang-Chi was using them
yes,
to like jump off as like stepping stones while he was in the air.
yes, I
Yeah,
agree.
oh man, really well done. And I'm excited to like learn more about their origin in the MCU. Like
Yeah,
we got that hint with the
with the
post-credit scene.
yeah. And I'm curious. I'm curious if they're gonna bring in Fin Fan Foom there, or they're setting up something else, like overall in the MCU, like the Beyonder or like some other entity, like which I'm curious about. And I want to discuss like towards the end, like the post credit scene and the theories, all that. Yeah, I didn't have a problem with the rings not having specific powers because I I kind of understood that because they didn't want to be like the Pyre Stones from Thanos and the
Yeah, they don't
Gauntlet.
want to retread that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was totally fine with that. And the thing that I appreciate about this was they actually like if you've seen like Hero or like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, I love
Yeah.
it. They used that like what if Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or Hero, or all those like kung fu fighting movies was in a superhero film. They did it so well in
Mhm.
this film, and
Yeah.
that I was so happy about.
Yeah. I actually watched Hero earlier this week to
Oh,
like prepare for Shang-Chi. Yeah. Just to see like Tony Leung doing his
oh,
thing.
oh my god, that's cool.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh man. That's a great movie.
oh my god. Have you seen Infernal Affairs?
I haven't. I was trying to see if it was streaming somewhere. Um,
Oh,
but it isn't streaming anywhere that I have like access to right now.
yeah. trying to find it. I think Netflix has it or something like that. I don't know.
I think I looked there. Oh, no, there was some Netflix movie that.
Yeah, Crouching Tiger is in Netflix in this moment, and the sequel as well. But oh, I guess we're not talking about the father. I want to bring up the mother of Shang-Chi, and I actually really liked her character.
Yeah.
Her name is here. What's her name?
Ying Li.
Yin Li. Yes. She was a great character, one of the surprising ones, and she had like present, and I love Wen Yu and his like first interaction of his wife. Like that was great. That was my favorite scene from that film. Like just the choreography and the and the cinematography there was just beautiful. It was like one of my favorite scenes in any film.
That reminded me a lot of the fight in Hero.
Yes.
Between what's the character's name? Like, is it Falling Snow? And then the assistant character, like the two women sword fighters.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think it's been a while for me seeing Hero.
Yeah, sorry.
They're
fighting like in a forest.
In the orange section. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
That fight reminded me a lot of that.
Yeah, that's true. And it was like a combination of that and the green section in the film as well. It's because the earthly tones. In the forest. Yeah. That film was incredible, and I guess we haven't mentioned like the third act, like the village and Michelle Yeoh's character Yin Dan, the aunt. Let's kind of go over to talk about that. What do you thought about her and her second MCU role?
Right. I thought she was interesting. I hope she comes back for like a future thing.
Yes.
To like explore more of like her relationship with Shang-Chi and then with Talo.
Yeah. And the sister as well. I'm kind of curious about that. Yeah. It was just kind of surprising. I feel like her character was like she's great in the film, but like she was like bottom of my list. Like I don't know, like it was kind of like kind of the role she plays, I guess. It was kind of fascinating. Like the other roles like took up my favorite list, like Awkwafina, the sister, and then the father, and then Trevor, and then her. Like I cannot say she's like my fifth favorite, because that will go to the mother, because the mother was amazing.
She was really good.
Yeah, but yeah, I thought she was great, and I thought, I guess I liked that she was playing like a motherly role, and like she gave like Shang-Chi the direction he needed to overcome his fear and then become his own person. So that was really good. And I guess other characters we had to mention. I think we covered everyone. I mean,
we haven't talked about Wong's.
Oh yes, Wong. Yeah. It was good. I mean, Wong was there. And by the way, we got the Abomination in this film, and
yes,
I was happy he looked like his comic book appearance, and then I guess I would say like I can't explain to everyone that like they're bringing back him back for a Disney Plus show, She-Hulk. That's where he's going to be next, and it was kind of interesting. So let me get this straight. So Wong is helping the Abomination to be like controlling his animalistic nature, like
I think what the
right?
implication was that Wong was just breaking out, was breaking Abomination out of the raft
Oh,
to like to like rig fights so they can make money.
oh my god.
So like he before they leave,
Hmm.
Wong's like well, next time we'll practice you throwing that punch like I taught you. So I think
Oh my god, that
I
is
think
hilarious.
they were like gaming the underground fight ring so
Wow.
they could make some money.
Six. Oh my god. Yeah. I did appreciate towards the end about like I love how Juan went with Kate and Shan for the karaoke
Yeah.
sing along. Like that was my favorite.
Wong's character is so like chaotic and it's really surprising.
Yes.
But it's always fun.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He was my favorite character in Doctor Strange. Like I did love the running joke about him not laughing at Doctor Strange jokes and
Yeah.
like that. And then I mean his line about was it the hulking fudge thing he liked in Infinity War and
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and then his line from Endgame, like, "Do you want more?" Like,
Right.
towards the end of the Endgame, that was funny. Yeah. I'm happy that one is getting more to do, and like he like I think he was like the right step of doing like like because one was very typical in the comics, and I
Yeah.
think Marvel did a good job of modernizing one in the 20th century.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it was great. Oh my god.
Uh, I liked Abomination's new design.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't talk. That was like
Yeah,
um
me too. But I'm sure when he shows up in She-Hulk, he'll talk.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I'm very curious about She-Hulk. Um okay, let's there were like um I was with my friend, my childhood best friend, Chris, for Friday to see that film, and
Mhm.
I point out certain things that I saw from the MCU. Um, a big one was like I saw a Black Widow agent that was fighting in a cage,
Mhm.
and it was like a blink it and you miss it moment.
Yeah.
She was fighting like a extremist soldier,
Yeah,
which
I saw that too.
that was cool. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh my god. So I was very happy they didn't forget about that because I was kind of like that made me think like, well, did those extremist soldiers that were in AIM like did they survive and they
Mhm.
are so that was cool. Um, what else do we got that was like comic book themes? Um, oh, I guess we're going to like references now. Like could you bring up some of like the Chinese creatures or like the mythology they actually like they were borrowing from? Like which
Yeah.
like I'm kind of
Um,
curious.
let's see. I saw there were nine-tailed foxes
Okay,
when they were like driving in. Um, which there are versions of
okay,
those that appear in Chinese, Korean, and Japanese mythology.
okay,
Um, and there's a Pokemon based on it.
okay.
There were Firebirds, which also there's a Pokemon based on. Uh,
Okay, yes, I think I was thinking about
yeah.
that.
Um, I don't know the name for the lion creatures, but they're
Okay.
pretty famous. And then when I was reading on uh, Wikipedia earlier, I saw that that like Morris, Trevor's like companion,
Uh-huh.
is something called a Hundun.
Okay.
Um,
Um, I
um,
No one else.
Let's see. And obviously the dragons. I'm trying to think. I don't know what those like dragon deer things were. They were cool looking though.
I think they're called. Uh, did we mention the Chinese guardian lions? The Xi
Okay.
Sha. That's what they call the Xi
Okay.
Sha.
Thank you. Because
Yeah,
that's
the one I
one
think.
I
Okay, that's the one.
recognized, but I couldn't like. I didn't know what they were called.
Yeah, they're called the Xi. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it right, but I'm just looking at I'm looking at the article every MCU Easter egg from Screen Rant, and I see the name here. Shut Shay is what it's called, or in that nature. Yeah, and then the legendary winged horse with the dragon scales, or they're called the Lanma.
Okay.
Those are the ones that they when Kate stopped, and then those are the ones we saw that were walking. So we saw those, and yeah, and then the creature you mentioned, Morris, is a Jinjan. It's often seen to represent cosmic confusion, and it makes sense. And the Jinjan could associate itself with Trevor. Oh, that's it. So this creature represents what Trevor is. This cosmic confusion, because because Trevor is so like what's the word a living
Oblivious.
yeah
yeah.
in his surroundings, like he doesn't know what's right and wrong, and like like yeah, it's so funny. That is actually a cool way to like totally symbolize Trevor. That's cool. And by the way, my family makes jokes about these cool cartoons and small creatures, and when I saw Morris, he did remind me of my dad or my mom. It's like a joking way because he was so cute, and he didn't have like a head. It was like funny, like oh my god, like it was so funny. Oh god. And then uh, and the unicorn like quill, the horn creatures. I think we saw. They don't have a name. Clean. I think that's their name. So yeah, okay. I guess we covered those, like the Chinese mythical myths and creatures, because they were very impressive, I would say.
Yeah.
It reminded me we were going into like what's the anime famous guy, Kurosawa films.
Hayao Miyazaki.
Yeah, Hayao Miyazaki. Yes, like those kind of films. It reminded me of that.
Yeah,
just very cool. And there were other ones that. What was the big one? The Mandarin's right hand assassin, the death dealer, the one with the.
Yeah.
So this is interesting. The death dealer was a Shang-Chi villain from the comics, so it's kind of interesting they put that character in here as like as a photo, and you got Razor Fist in this film, which was cool.
Yeah, I liked Razor Fist.
Yeah, I was happy he survived, actually.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, because I'm happy that Marvel is getting better with recurring villains. So that's good. And then what was the other thing? The sister. She ran the club in the fighting cage. It was called the Golden Daggers. So this is what's interesting, because this is actually Shang-Chi has a sister in the comics, and different names, of course.
Okay. Yeah, I was really wondering if she was like based on anything. So yeah.
Yeah, they just changed the name, I think.
Okay.
And it was interesting about the name of the club, the Golden Daggers. That's actually the criminal organization that she leads to. that she led in the comics. So it was interesting that in the post credit scene, she leads to the 10 rings, and that's like what she does in the comics. So if you didn't know that, that was a little hint of where like she possibly could go in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So that was very cool. Yeah, and then Shang-Chi's background, despite the changes, they were like similar. Like he was brought up as like an assassin, stuff like that. And the Jackie move homage is also Jackie Chan. Like, if you've seen the other Jackie Chan films, he does this pose, and like he has his hand right here, and then he has his hand like closed. Like it's very much like a Jackie Chan movie. Then and that guy with the huge beard from Spider-Man: Homecoming, he was here as well.
Yep.
He was funny actually.
Yeah.
Like, just taping the whole thing. Also in terms of the timeline, which if you guys were kind of confused, well, it's not confusing like Black Widow was. This was right after Endgame, and I like they didn't make a big deal of it, but like they give you hints of it, which I like. I like how like I did like how Kate mentioned, after what I think what was her line, like like after so many people disappear or vanish, that kind of thing. But yeah, I think that's really it in terms of the references. Was there anything else?
Do we want to talk about? Oh no, you go.
Oh, sorry. And last thing. Talo is actually from a Thor comic. That's like it's like a small pocket dimension, so called the God Realms. So this is so Talo is actually a comic book thing. They just reimagined it, so that was cool.
It reminded me a lot of Kunlun. So I was wondering if they were just like reskinning Kunlun or yeah. Okay, cool. Good to know that it's like actually from the comics.
Yeah. It was kind of funny. I'm actually I kind of surprised they didn't do any like reimagine or like do some Iron Fist setup, but then like I think they're gonna wait for that for a long time.
Yeah, I think given the Netflix shows and the and how they're like questionably canon.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna wait a while.
Yeah. Well, okay. So like let's kind of wrap things up and let's discuss the post-credit scenes, the two. You start with the order. The first one.
Yeah.
So after was it Shen and then Kate go with Juan to the I guess the section Sortarum.
Yep.
And this was like I agree with Grace Randolph. This was probably the best. This is the two best post credit. Well, I get tongue twister now. These were the two best. Oh my god, these were the best post credit scenes ever in FCU. Finally, I got that right. I don't know what you thought about that. Well, like, is these are your favorites?
I don't know if they're my favorites. They're very good.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Just the first one set up so much.
Yeah.
Like I'm so excited to see what they're doing with Shang-Chi, like in future movies.
Yeah.
I'm really curious about the origin of the rings and like what that's going to tie into. So
yeah, I'm very curious about that as well. Like some theories, like some people are theorizing it could be Galactus, which I don't know about that.
Yeah.
And then the one that I saw from another heavy spoilers mentioned, I guess the Beyonder, which could make sense because of Secret Wars and the multiverse theme.
Yeah.
He mentioned this other one like Kane could be possibility, but I don't know about that. Um,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I have a feeling it's going to tie into the multiverse somehow, just because that seems to be what they're doing, type of thing. But
right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm very curious about that. But the other one, I I I'm trying to think. Like I thought about this, but then I feel like you're right, Will, about it's probably into the multiverse thing we've been doing for for the last couple of months, really, for
Yeah,
this year. And I was thinking, um, because we didn't do like the alien, like colonel, like aliens that like that the Mandarin is always connected to in the comics. Like that's how he
right.
got his rings. And then we gotta mention like the Crayer, like
Hmm.
he, the rings, like the 10 rings in this film land in a crater of some sort. I kind of wonder maybe um they're bringing in those creatures in to maybe be some like the secondary antagonists. Maybe I don't know.
Could
Um,
be. Yeah.
like
Because they ruled out Banner ruled out science stuff.
yeah,
Wong ruled out
Vibranium.
magic stuff,
Yeah,
but Carol didn't.
recognize it.
She just said she didn't recognize it. Yeah, she didn't.
Yeah,
It doesn't mean it's not from somewhere else in space.
yeah. I mean, and this is where I can say like, is this like a possibility for Fin Fan Foom pumping out
Hmm.
soon? But I like I I don't know. But yeah, so a lot of questions they left. Like it's very unanswered, but it was a cool post credit scene.
Yeah.
It was same holograms from Avengers Endgame. That was cool.
Hmm.
And Banner actually went back from being normal instead of Professor Hulk, which is interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting. Maybe
Um,
we'll learn what that's about in She-Hulk.
yeah, I'm very curious about that one.
Yeah.
Is there anything else besides that credit scene? Like it was like last thing I guess to mention that credit scene was I like how Juan was talking to Shan and Kate about now that their lives had changed, and it's like now they had to be prepared for what's gonna come.
Yeah.
Like
Uh,
that was my favorite speech from Juan.
yeah, it felt very meta too, just talking
Yes,
to Simu Liu and Awkwafina.
yes, it's true. Yeah, and she's gonna tag along. That's
Yeah.
actually industry is a civilian gonna become a superhero.
Yeah.
uh that's so funny, and I love how like it doesn't feel weird. It's just like it comes natural.
Hmm.
That's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
they feel like a team.
Yeah. And she's I think she's way better than Kristen Palmer. Like the best.
Yeah.
Like it's so funny and interesting that they just nailed this character right.
Yeah.
And I guess now getting to the second post credit scene, this one was my favorite. And
Okay.
I when we saw the sister again, Sue, and of course her Razorfish comes into her room, and then we're seeing her walking into this mystery room, and then her sitting down and see the 10 ring symbol with being modified from her point of view.
Yeah.
Um, and I was like, oh my god, that's kind of cool. And then they cut to the 10 rings will return, and
Yeah.
oh my god, that made me so happy. Oh my god. So question, is she going to be the main villain for the sequel? You think
Could be. Yeah,
like
I keep waiting for them to announce a sequel or something.
yeah.
Um,
um
but yeah, it could be.
yeah. I mean it makes sense. I mean like she was a villain, I guess, in the comics.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is history. I'm looking at Wikipedia as well. She's created for the film, but she seems to be like a composite character of five sisters of Shang-Chi in the comics. So, okay. So
Yeah.
very interesting. Okay. Okay. So 5 characters. Okay. So that's interesting. So and then um like which is kind of cool. I can see her and many people are expecting that she could be the one that like like Sharon Carter, the pirate broker, is talking to. Like
Interesting.
like this could easily connect to Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Like and you know, and they're both women. I think that makes sense. Like what you know, and I could see the sister being a villain, the way the film presented, like how she was like she wasn't part of the Ten Rings training, and like she wasn't allowed to, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in this film, she was trying to become her own person and like do the things she wanted to do, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and like she was able to do as well, like being a fire and stuff like that, being the greatest fire, right? And just her taking over the Ten Rings and like becoming the new Mandarin, possibly, you know, but not with the name. Of course, they're not going to call it the Mandarin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm fine with. And like that's very interesting. She becomes like this, like another villain that Shang-Chi probably created. That's actually kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And then she is kind of similar to Loki as well. Like she wants, well, not power, like she never says that like out loud or like
Mm-hmm.
specifically say that, but like she's like after for like recognition, like how Loki wants in a couple of his films and the show Loki as well. So very interesting stuff from that character. So I'm very excited about that. And I don't know, what's your thought on that post-credit scene, Will?
Yeah. No, I'm excited to like have more with these characters that we were introduced to in this film.
Yeah.
And to like explore the mythology of Shang-Chi some more. So
Yeah.
yeah, just very excited for like a sequel or something.
Yeah. And I think they will when like tomorrow, right? Monday or Tuesday, because we had the holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah. How the box office is.
Mm-hmm.
If this does well and actually outgrows Black Widow, then I think Marvel and Disney will announce the sequel, you know?
Yeah.
And
it seems like it's been doing pretty well so far.
Yeah, I'm very happy to hear that. And it was packed yesterday.
Yeah.
What my parents say. So that was good to hear. So yeah, and this had like a cinema score,
Mm-hmm.
and it actually had the highest rating, like audience score. Like it had like a 99% in Rotten Tomatoes. So that's a good sign as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
good word of mouth does a lot.
Yeah, so and because I think this was a better world received film over Black Widow, I will say. So that's good. So yeah, and I think Marvel is leaning very hard to set up things with these characters, which is good. Compared to Black Widow, because the only character they did just like we're like we want Elena to continue on, and like we don't know where's Red Garden going to be or Rachel Weisz's character, you know, blah blah blah. Yeah. So that's cool. Any more thoughts, Will, for Shang-Chi? I think we covered everything.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Yeah, so I guess, have you seen the Suicide Squad?
Yeah, I've seen it twice actually.
Oh, that's cool. So far we had 3 superhero films, and which one is your favorite right now? Like your number?
It's the Suicide Squad by a lot.
Okay. Okay, me too.
Okay.
Nothing beats Polka Dot Man for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Suicide Squad is still my favorite. Yeah, and then this is second. So
yeah, same. But like you know, I'm more of a Marvel guy, but the Suicide Squad is just everything that it should have been and like needed to be. So yeah. And
just overall fun and action-packed film.
Yeah, it felt like exactly the kind of movie that James Gunn has wanted to make his entire life.
Yes.
Like it felt so James Gunn. And it was just really nice to see him like expressing himself in such like a like pure way as a filmmaker.
Yeah,
Like,
in a personal way too.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very impressive. Like he made me like two characters, that were very obscure, but also Batman villains. You know, Ratcatcher and Polka Dot Man,
Mhm.
and that was very impressive. Like,
Yeah.
oh my god, like I
The
never.
fact, oh, sorry, you go.
No, you go ahead. Sorry.
No. Just the fact that he made me feel bad when Rick Flag died.
I know. Like,
I did not care about that character at all in the original Suicide Squad, and then when he died in this one, I was like, oh,
I know.
I wanted you to live.
Yeah, I especially he had good chemistry with Bloodsport.
Mhm.
As a Abba's character, oh my god, it was and Harley as well. Like,
Yeah, like they were actually friends, like he and Harley.
yeah, yeah, very impressive. Like Gunn just showed the master of filmmaker, and like,
Mhm.
and I think this was my favorite like ensemble cast since the Guardians films. Really, like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just. Oh my god, yeah. And then Shang-Chi is second, my favorite. I think it's probably the best thematically personal film we have seen our superhero film since Black Panther, I think. For totally different reasons, of course. Um and it's definitely the best action film we have seen. And I would say I think all the three superhero films we have had the best action scenes so far. At least they haven't been disappointed at that point, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess, so any more thoughts before we go?
No, I think I'm good.
All right, that's cool. So, well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this very spectacular podcast of What If and the spoiler cast of Shang-Chi. Of course, me and Will be back for next week for another talk of What If. And the next movie, I guess we had to talk is about Venom. Is that our next film? Soon in October.
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought it got pushed back or something. I don't know. I didn't see the first one, and I'm not super interested.
So you want us?
We can
skip that because I don't want to talk about Venom too.
Okay.
I can do like if I see you with my other friend Kristen, Miss Flamingo, the movie critic, I will do like a small chat before we do the What If talk, whatever, and just say what my thoughts are. But hopefully, I don't want to see that. But we'll see.
Okay, it looks like it's coming out October 15th.
Yeah, so, they got moved. There was this weird debacle, like it was like someone made this like notion that it was going to move next year, but then Sony debunked that. No, it just is staying in this release date. So it was just this weird debacle that just happened randomly. So yeah, very weird. But then I guess our next official podcast could be Eternals, which is November, which I'm curious about.
Yeah, I think that'll be interesting. And actually, they announced like this week that Hawkeye is coming out. It's going to start airing, I think, November 24th.
Okay. Same week as Thanksgiving. Oh, okay. Well, that's it straight. So, but that's good because I know that's going to be our next like TV talk after this series. And I heard it's going to be 6 episodes. So, yeah. So I know that part. They did confirm the episode count. But they haven't mentioned like the runtime. That's
wait, Andy Serkis is directing Venom 2?
Yes. Do you know that?
I didn't know that. Oh, that's wild. All right.
Yes. I mean, we should talk about it. I mean, if it has good reviews, which I'll be shocked it will have, we maybe should talk about it. But if it's not gonna get good reviews and all that, we're not gonna talk about it. Yeah. So yeah. Well, this is a fun podcast. Oh my god! Wow, I can't really into serious with gonna direct this.
I haven't been paying attention to it at all because I just wasn't interested in seeing it.
Yeah. And I guess like last thing to mention, it's PG-13. They confirmed that.
Yeah. Because I saw a trailer for it before Shang-Chi, and
okay.
Oh man, why would you make a Carnage movie? It's PG-13.
I don't know. But that's Sony. I mean,
I know. Yeah. I mean, Marvel would do that too, but they should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah. But yeah. Well, we'll see. We have 2 more months before that film come out and see how it goes. So yeah. So thank you, Will, for coming. So
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and as always, folks, hit the subscribe button, and we will be back for next week for another podcast. Have a good weekend, guys, and have a good Labor Day weekend.